This is One on One.
Brought to you by
the Russell Berry Foundation.
We are pleased to be joined by our good friend, Dr. Joe Marbach, who is the president of Georgian University. Good to see you, Doctor.
Great to see you again, Steve. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. For those who do not know what Georgian Court is, describe it.
Georgian Court is the Mercy University of New Jersey, and what that means is we were founded by the Sisters of Mercy 108 years ago, and we relocated to Lakewood, New Jersey in 1923, so we've been there for quite a while. And we're formerly all-women school,
right? And
we went co-ed 4 years ago. So we're a small to medium-sized gem in southern and central New Jersey.
Well, and Georgian Court has recently joined the public television family as a supporter, and thank you for supporting our efforts. But I just want to ask you this. You want to talk about student debt. We want to talk about student debt. Why is the student debt crisis as bad as it is, number one? Number two, more importantly, what can we do about it?
It's a very nuanced problem, and you really have to look at it as a whole and then break it down. There's a lot of students that have a large amount of debt, but then are they graduate students who are moving on to professional careers? That's where you see a large portion of debt. There's another segment of students, your typical undergraduate, who's incurred a lot of debt, often at the for-profit schools, and they're going through a lot of scrutiny these days. The federal government actually pulled the accreditation status of the major accreditor for many for-profits. And the other large problem you find are students who don't graduate. If a student doesn't get their bachelor's degree and they still incur debt, they just don't have the earning power to pay that debt off down the line. And so what we've taken pride in at Georgian Court is that while our students do incur debt, we're a private institution, so we have limited financial resources, they have a very low default rate. Our default rate is less than half what the national average is.
And why is that?
Well, because they're prepared for good jobs. They're able to go out, get those jobs, and then they can pay down their debt over, one estimate was in about 2.5 years.
But you've also argued, Joe, and you have a political science background, so you look at this from a public policy perspective as well. You've also argued that there's been a significant decrease in federal government aid to students, which has had a significant impact and exacerbated this problem.
That's also the case, because what we've seen is Pell has been relatively stagnant. That's for students with the lowest income amounts. That's about $5,000 a year. So it doesn't go far when you have private institutions. Our tuition at Georgian Court's about $30,000 a year.
And make that clear. I'll stay on this. We'll come back to federal aid in a second. Decisions to raise tuition. Your policy.
Well, we didn't raise tuition this year. We held tuition flat, understanding the impact that even a 2% increase has on our current students and on students that are looking at us. We know that families are struggling, and the type of students that we've been attracting are students that need as much financial aid as they can get. We come in, we have about 45% of our students are Pell eligible. That means their income is less than the cost of tuition.
How do the economics work?
Well, it's very challenging. And we have some distribution of resources. We get some from our endowment. We have donors who have paid it forward or paid it back and provide scholarship funding, and we're using that. Other institutions are continuing to raise tuition because that's the way that they're looking to make ends meet. We have just tried to conserve our resources to be as efficient as possible in our operations so that we can hold the cost as much as we possibly can.
Let me ask you this. New Jersey-based colleges, for those of us who chose at the time to go to New Jersey-based institutions of higher learning for our undergraduate, graduate, doctoral work, whatever it is, and those who, and then our children, let's just say in most cases have more options. I'm curious about this. How competitive are New Jersey-based institutions of higher learning when young people are making the decision as to where to go to school? And are we competitive enough?
We are not. New Jersey's #1 export is 18-year-olds.
The brain drain?
The brain drain,
How bad is it, Joe?
we exported 30,000 students last year.
30,000 students left our state to go to institutions of higher learning outside the state.
Mostly New York, Pennsylvania, increasingly Maryland, but across the board, California, Texas. New Jersey has one of the strongest, if not the strongest, secondary school systems in the country.
So why are we losing them?
Well, they have multiple choices, and they're looking to go elsewhere. I think part of it is that we're a small state, and people want to go away. And as you said,
It's a
our kids
natural
have
thing,
options.
to some extent?
To some extent, I think. But on the flip side, we're not attracting students.
What could and should New Jersey-based institutions of higher learning do to, dare I use the word brand, attract, hey, here, this is a great place to be?
I think part of it is describing what our offerings are. Part of my challenge is to get the word out to families that might not have ever heard of Georgian Court.
So how much of your job, it's interesting, because the last interaction we had was you were at another institution of higher learning at Seton Hall as an academic, right? Political scientist, we're always talking politics. On Capitol Report, my colleague, Raphael P. Orman, great conversations. And I think to myself, Joe's now the president of this university. And I think how much of your job is as a leader, as a business person, leading this effort, and not as an academic or chief academic officer? I know it's a loaded question. How much of it is about business?
Much more than I think I was ever prepared for.
A few seconds left, go ahead.
It really is about the bottom line and making things meet and being much more public, too. I'm the mayor of a small town in a lot of ways. I embody the Georgian Court values, the Mercy core values. So I'm also the spiritual leader on campus. I'm also the chief executive officer, so I've got to make sure the books balance. And we're doing that. Just came from a finance committee meeting, and they're always fun.
So you're always dealing with the numbers, the bottom line.
Bottom line, yeah. And part of it is to improve our numbers, improve recruitment, get us out into those markets in central and southern New Jersey.
And keeping academic standards as high as possible.
And they're high, yeah, and I have an advantage of that because of my academic background.
Dr. Joe Marbach, PhD, president of Georgian Court University. Thank you, Joe.
My pleasure.
Brought to you by
The Russell Berry Foundation, NJM, and by
the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor.